Welcome to New Light Living podcast with Ulrika Sullivan. Have you been feeling exhausted, overthinking your every action, and questioning your next goal? What if there's more to life than that? What if your analytical mind took a back seat and you just knew what was right for you? Ulrika Sullivan's multitasking, up in her head, stressful corporate career left her feeling like she was living on autopilot. She didn't know who she truly was. A complete career shift was carefully orchestrated by the universe to open her up to the deepest level of her soul and purpose. This led to a life-changing point of no return epiphany. There's an undeniable feeling of clarity and way forward available to us when we connect with our inner voice, heart's desire, and body consciousness. You are invited to expand beyond the rerun patterns of your mind and shift into heart-centered living. In Wisdom Beyond What You Know, how to shift from being driven by the mind to living from the heart and intuition. I want to begin with telling you a little bit of a story around the comfort zone. And for me, it's from my own life, where I, for many years, was working very, very diligently, if you call it that, and with a very sharp focus on career path, which led me to ignore my own needs. I stayed in the comfort zone in the sense that I knew what I was doing. I was very comfortable within the framework I've created for myself at work and how I was approaching work, for example. But what happened was that many nights when I was sitting down at my desk, my body said, no, don't do it. You need rest. But I was so up in my head that I ignored my body's signal for a long time. And that is part of ignoring my own needs, ignoring my body's wisdom, and the desire to stay in the comfort zone. So in the next 3 episodes, we're going to talk about how to get out of the comfort zone without the universe pushing us in a direction of that we have to change. We're going to talk about how to not ignore your needs, or some tips on why we're ignoring our needs and how we don't. And lastly, how we can tap into our body's wisdom if you are someone that is ignoring your body's needs. So I'm excited to talk with you about these 3 topics: the comfort zone to the commitment, ignoring your own needs, and tapping into your body wisdom in the next 3 episodes. Welcome to New Light Living podcast. I'm Ulrika Sullivan. Today, we're going to get you out of the comfort zone. And I love this topic because this is really where change, personal growth really starts. Any type of expansion that you may envision for yourself, it's not going to happen unless you commit and get out of the comfort zone and into the unknown. So today we're going to talk about this beautiful topic, and I'm going to give you a little bit of tips on how to actually get out of the comfort zone. But first, it may be of help to actually talk about what is the comfort zone. It's a term that we may use because if you look at your day is your comfort zone. Your current day, the way you spend your time during each day, often that is your comfort zone. And we tend to repeat things that we feel comfortable with. Now, when we are in a process of transformation, it does not help to kind of gravitate back to the comfort zone all the time. What we want to do is to actually step into the unknown, step into a different energy, if you will. And with that comes a commitment. But first, we want to talk about what is this comfort zone and why do we feel that the comfort zone is so comfortable? Often we create this comfort zone because we really don't, we really lean on the feelings of fear of something unknown coming into our sphere and into our world that we cannot handle. And that creates fear that something outside of us is going to come in and disturb this comfort zone. Now, for many of us who've gone through spiritual growth, personal transformation, we know, and you may be also at the threshold of, if you're listening to this, you may be at the very beginning of a personal transformation or in the middle of it. But the feeling of stepping out of the comfort zone is a very unique feeling. And often when we keep staying in the comfort zone, it's because we believe that that's where we belong. That's where we are feeling safe, our safe routines or ways we're living. That's how it feels safe around us. But in the midst of that, we may not feel good. We may not feel good about our day. We may not feel that we are in the power of ourselves and our true selves. And this is more of a subconscious feeling sometimes. At a crossroads, we make a decision, and I want to talk about this feeling because the crossroad feeling is one of not knowing, and it also brings us to an energy of, can I trust my own direction, or do I need to ask somebody else or take guidance from an external party, if it's a friend, family member, or so. So it comes to this crossroad, and here we are with a decision to make, whether we will trust our own direction or if we need validation to move in one direction or the other. When we're stepping into a commitment and out of the comfort zone, it's important to declare your commitment. Your commitment is like writing a contract with yourself. And it often needs to be written down because then it becomes real for us. A contract that exists in our head, in our mind, is not real to ourselves or to somebody else. If you were to say somebody, I have committed to break this habit, or I have committed to step into a new career, and so on. But when we declare our commitment, it becomes solid. And it also, not only we can see it, but we can also allow ourselves to believe it. Because when we see, when we tell others, and that's also what I want to recommend you to do, tell others what you have committed to, what your intention is with that commitment. Because when we share it with somebody else, it becomes real. And we can also see that sometimes people are asking about how is it going with this thing that you committed to. So it's an element of accountability as well within declaring your commitment. It also allows you to trust yourself more, because when we really, with the full body, heart, inner commitment that this takes in terms of soul growth, it also helps you to increase your ability to trust in yourself, in your path. So declaring your commitment is so important. How can you step out of that comfort zone in an easy way? Because sometimes the universe is kicking us out of that comfort zone. And in my case, it happened through a layoff at work many years ago now. And that was really, and you may have read about it in my book. In the opening story, I'm telling my story about this rock bottom, if you will. But if you are, it doesn't have to be like that. It doesn't have to be that the universe is kicking you out of your comfort zone. It can actually be you and an intentional stepping out of your comfort zone. And how do you do that? The first thing that is important to think of is to be really clear on what it is that you want to step into. Because sometimes if we cannot make a commitment, it's because we're unclear with ourselves what we want instead. And human psychology is working like this, that if you cannot see the benefit of your change, you won't do it, because if it's not clear to you what the benefit is, it's not going to happen, if that makes sense. And so the first thing is really to become more and more clear. And how can you become more clear with yourself? Ask yourself the question, why? Why do I want this change? And I'm speaking in very general term now. Apply it to your situation. So once we start to ask ourselves the question, why? And I would also recommend you to actually write it down, journal about it a little bit. What is it that comes up for you when you ask yourself that question of why? And look at the answers that come down on the paper, because you may learn something about yourself and your situation that can help you become more clear about it. And so that's my first tip. My second tip is think about what is the cost to you. And what I mean with cost is like, what is it that you have to endure by staying in the comfort zone? Think about that. What is it that you have to either endure, sacrifice, or not have because you keep staying in the comfort zone? So when you see that clearly, like I really, for example, maybe you're, I really don't have a job that I truly love, or I really am not experiencing joy on a daily basis because I'm in this comfort zone. Like things like that. And ask yourself that question. What is the cost really? What is it that you have to put up with by staying in the comfort zone? And lastly, ask yourself the question, what would happen if you made the change? If you jumped the fence, so to say, over into the unknown, what would happen? And also, what is the worst thing that could happen? And sometimes it's not that bad. So ask yourself those questions. That will help you, hopefully, to become a little bit more clear as to if you choose to stay in the comfort zone a little bit longer, or if you are now right at the crossroads where you can make that decision with your heart, your body, your inner self, and not necessarily with the logic in place. Because if our mind can put an answer to this, it's probably to stay in the comfort zone. So you don't want to engage the logic too much. You want to feel into it. You want to be clear on what you actually want, and you want to feel it in your body.